Welcome back to TechHub.training. In this video, I will walk you through my solution to the automated allocation challenge. Now, like all challenges, it's important to remember that there are many different solutions, and yours may be different from mine. There are probably different VBA codes that could have been used to make this a little bit more efficient or a little bit smoother, but I wanted to practice my looping, and so you'll see later on that that's the approach that I took. Now, if you remember from the challenge, we are working for a property management company, and every so often they receive a list of transactions from their credit card vendor. Some of these transactions will be reimbursed to the management company from different properties, and some will not be reimbursed. And so we need to create a VBA code that will take the transactions and copy and paste the data into the proper sheet, reimburse or no reimbursement. And this is going to be based off of the property column. From the controls tab, you can see that there are 3 designations that will not be reimbursed: corporate office 1, corporate office 2, and if the property is blank. And you'll see over in the transactions, well, your transactions will be different from mine. We could see we have a Salt Lake property, so that will be reimbursed. Corporate office 2 will not be reimbursed. A blank one, not reimbursed, and so on. Now, everybody will have a different set of data, and this is because when we select the Generate Data button, it's going to create new data. So you see the first 3 lines are all Provo. If I hit Generate Data again, apologize, you see it's changed again. And this is because there was a VBA script that was already written in the challenge file, and I wish I could take credit for writing this script, but I actually had ChatGPT do it for me to randomize the data sets. So it works very well, very efficient, and that's that. So let's walk through my code. Ideally, once this is finished, we'll be able to generate data and then select the Allocate Data button, and it will go through each transaction and add it to the proper tab. So let's just walk through this. We start off by declaring our variables. Here I chose property. I and j are just different integers that are going to help us with our looping. And then C1, C2, and C3 are just for our corporate properties that are not going to be reimbursed. This is just a list for me to use. And so as we move on, we see the C1, C2, and C3 are just equal to the controls sheet and this range here of our values. Next, we want to take the headers from the Transactions tab and add it to each of our reimbursed and non-reimbursements. So over here we can see that this is going to activate the transactions sheet, which it does. And then since I is currently listed as 1, you can see that over here in the locals window as well. It's going to take row 1 and copy the entire thing. And then we're going to activate sheet 4, which is just the no reimbursements sheet. And it's going to do the same thing, paste it to row 1, which is in this case J, and paste it there. So next, let's get ready to do our looping so we can allocate the transactions. So we're going to activate our transactions sheet again, and we are going to increase our I variable and our J variables to 2, and we are going to select, we're going to activate cells I5, which is now row 2, column 5. So we're here over here in the property section. Now this is where we're going to begin our loop. In our loop, we are going to check to see if the active cell, which is row 2, column 5, is equal to a value in C1, C2, or C3, which you'll remember are our non-reimbursable ones. And since it was not equal to corporate office 1, corporate office 2, or blank, it's going to skip all of this and come to our else statement. And you'll see that we're just going to increase our variable by 1. It's going to end the if, and then we're going to reactivate cells I5, which is now row 3, column 5. And we're going to loop. And this loop is going to continue until the active cell offset of -4, which is A, is blank, which as this iterates through, eventually once we run out of data, the active cell offset is going to be blank because there's going to be no more data, and then it will end the loop. So we can just continue looping through. Corporate office 1, it is in the list of properties that will not be reimbursed, so it's going to enter that, and it's going to copy the row, just like we did with the header. It's going to activate this sheet for no reimbursements. Select row J, which remember we increased it here, so it's a new row. And we're going to paste the data. And then we're going to go back to our transactions. And then here I deleted the data that we already copied and pasted. That way we don't iterate through it again and we don't have to worry about it anymore. And you'll notice that I do not increase my I variable because by deleting the row, the data all shifted up. And now I still need to test the current I is equal to 3. But I will increase the J variable so that when we go back to the No Reimbursements tab, it's going to go to row 3. So you can see that we can just keep iterating through. You'll see Logan, it is not on the bad list, so we'll keep iterating through. Cedar City is fine. Cedar City is fine. Logan is fine. Corporate office 1, we remember that that's not fine. So we're going to copy it, go to our no reimbursements, select our J row, paste the data, go back, delete it, and we're just going to keep iterating through. Now let's jump ahead a little bit. I'm going to debug and run to the cursor. So you see it's reiterating through the transactions sheet, pulling out everything that appears in the no reimbursements list of corporate office 1, corporate office 2, and blank, and sticking them on the no reimbursements sheet. So we'll wait for this to finish, and we should be left with only transactions that should be placed on the reimbursement sheet. Everything else should be filtered out by that point. And you can see, if we go check the no reimbursements, corporate offices, blanks, it looks like it did it properly. Reimbursements sheet is still blank. Transactions is left with just transactions that are going to have to be moved over to the reimbursement sheet. And here we're going to reset our I variable back to 2. And I know that all of this data is good, and so I'm just going to select this entire range, every column in A through Z. I know that that's going to include all of my columns and all of my rows. So now that I've got that data copied, we're going to move over here into sheet 3, which is our reimbursements. We select that same range, paste the data, and then you can see we can jump back over into our transaction sheet and delete all the data that we just pasted, and the sub ends. And just like that, we have transactions is empty. Reimbursement tab is full of properties that we need to send a bill to, and no reimbursements is for all of the property management company transactions. And now once these codes are in, we can right-click on our button, assign a macro, and select our allocate data macro. So now we can repeat this if we want to, much quicker. We just pull out all of our data, go back to our transactions, blank, controls, generate new data. It's all here. And we can allocate and let it filter through. And just like this, we can repeat this process every time we get a new set of transactions. And hopefully this will help the property management company be able to manage their billing and their reimbursements just a little bit quicker in the future. Thanks for watching this video. I'm looking forward to see the VBA scripts that you create to solve this same challenge. Thanks, and we'll see you next time.